Desnard here. We got a little problem. We'll bring you down to the river, but it's freaking windy. So I'm gonna talk in the hammock over here a little about the river, and then maybe show you some windy river clips. Alright, so a bit sheltered from all the wind. You see, this is crazy. We're down at the St. Johns River at Tosahatchee Wildlife Management Area. I wanted to show you guys the river area, just introduce you to it. I also wanted to talk about biodiversity loss and how that affects us and future us's. But that'll be in the next video. In this video, I just wanted to show you guys the river and talk about the river's history a little bit. So we're down at the St. Johns River, and I'll show you some clips after I'm done blabbing. And this was a sacred river to the Native Americans here, mainly because it was their this was their life source. Like, so many tribes lived along this river, and we know this because of all the mounds that were found along this river before they were sadly dug up for their kokachina, which are the shells. So the natives used this river almost extensively, and they would travel up it all the way to the ocean if they needed to for transport, because they had their boats and whatnot. It would be easy transport that way. And they would hunt along the river. They would get shellfish, they would get gator, turtle, you name it. Anything that was in the river or the creeks connected to the river, this was their life, and this is where they lived. And they also would take shelter in these types of cabbage palm hammocks that are along the river's coast here. But what they would also do is they would make their own kind of, like, not islands but hills. I don't know, I've explained this before. Using the shells from the river, seashells that they're eating, and the turtles that they're eating, bones, pottery that they're making also from the river here. I'll show you some of that. The clay that they're collecting. They would discard all their waste and dirt and crap and make these hills, these middens, which is essentially just their waste, but kind of served as lookout points, or also waste dumps. But over time, trees and other plants would grow on them and colonize it, and eventually we had all these hill structures throughout Florida. And sadly, a lot of them were destroyed because, as I mentioned earlier, the white settlers, us white settlers, we colonized this place, and we wanted easy roads in the early 1900s. And so we dug up their mounds, which had immense amounts of shell already dug up for us, and just used it to pave roads. And it's tragedy. There are still a few Indian mounds remaining, and most of them are alongside the St. Johns River or its many creeks that flow into it. I've yet to been to one, but there are some a few miles from where we're at here. That's pretty much all I wanted to blab about. You know, I've talked about most of these things before because the creeks around where I live also have Native American history tied to them and are very important. So pretty much all the waterways here in Florida were in a way sacred to the Native Americans because they relied on it for their food source. But let's go show you guys some windy clips of the river here. It's windy because it's a nice warm day, and it's plains right here, so the wind just travels and collects and picks up, potential. But hopefully, you guys can enjoy the scenery. I don't know if I'll be able to talk because it's so windy. The river's relatively low right now. We haven't had too much rain. Summer has yet to start here in Florida. It's a very active, biodiverse river. Probably way more biodiverse once upon a time. Got little gulls. There's gators all throughout this river of all different sizes and shapes. The gators are huge here. Native Americans would hunt them if they could. main source of food, probably these seashells, these clams, these mussels, and the turtles that they could find, which were, I believe turtles are more in the creeks. Just so much water here, and all the little rivers like the Yukon, Lakachi, they dump into here, and the creek like Jim Creek, the waterways kind of dump in here, and this flows all the way out to the Atlantic by Jacksonville. So they could use this, the natives could use this as a waterway to get all the way to Jacksonville and out to the ocean. And the white settlers, or settlers in general in the 1900s, figured that out too with their steamboats, and they use that for the same. See that gator right there? He hears me. So in the summer, the water will come up to here on the regular. This will be the water level. And during the hurricanes, it just overflows. You can find clay up on the beach here, in the water, everywhere. And this is what they would use to make pottery out of. It is very, very nice clay. Very nice clay. Some clay is just, doesn't want to mold very well. Not this stuff. No bad smells. Very, very nice clay. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.